territory of Nunavut, Canada. This is the only province or territory in Canada that has no road access to it whatsoever. We're going to be on a float plane flying into the Arctic Barren lands over some of the most remote areas in the world. And our pickup point is from the Arctic coast. So it is such a far flight that our float plane pilot actually has to go and cache fuel so we can land partway to our put in, refuel the float plane, and then drop us off. The Hood River is an advanced level whitewater trip. There's substantial portaging, including one portage that is 11 kilometers long. It might take us as much as 3 days, and it skirts a massive waterfall, the world's largest circumpolar falls, which is the largest waterfall north of the Arctic Circle in the entire world. There's going to be tundra grizzlies. We're going to have polar bears, caribou, muskox, Arctic wolves. There's going to be giant lake trout, and it's just a spectacular river, and I'm super excited to be heading off on this trip with Ted. It should be just an absolutely wild ride and some very different country than anything you've seen in my videos yet. And before too long, you should see me and Ted getting dropped off in a float plane in the middle of the raw wilderness of the Arctic Barren lands. The Hood River got its name due to Franklin's first overland expedition, which included travel on this river, or more or less walking up the river and then crossing it and walking all the way back to Great Slave Lake, which is the lake Yellowknife's on. And a lot of them starved to death on that expedition, including Robert Hood, who was likely cannibalized, and that's what the river's named after, the Hood River. Oh my God, dude.
Oh my God, it's enormous.
If we dump here, there's pretty much nowhere else to get over, and we'd have to swim the whole canyon. And if our boat gets lost in here, then it's going to be very hard to retrieve if it gets hung up in an eddy or on a rock. There it is. You see it? It looks definitely like an old Inuit site of some sort. Look at this. Okay, well, here we are at Jack Pine Paddle in beautiful Yellowknife, Northwest Territories. We got a gorgeous day, and this is the jumping off point for me and Ted's 3-week canoe expedition down the Hood River. And before we get going, we need to get dialed in. Ted and I are each going to be soloing, and in order to meet our very stringent float plane payload restrictions, Ted is going to take a folding canoe, so it doesn't have to be strapped to the outside of the plane, and that means we get a lot more gas mileage. I'm taking a hard shell. We have to be really tight on gear on this one. Not counting our camera equipment, we need only 360 pounds of gear between the two of us, and we are just weighing stuff out, pulling stuff up, going over our gear again and again, and yeah, it's going to be a challenge to get dialed in. So definitely put Jack Pine Paddle on your radar if you're heading for a trip based out of Yellowknife or in the Northwest Territories. Ted, how you feeling about this?
Pretty good. You know, when I first got here, I was a little like, haven't had a lot of sleep, so it took some thinking, which I'm already like, you know, pretty handicapped in that department. So then with the lack of sleep and all this figuring and technical stuff and all these people watching me, you know, it's I think I flipped the deck about 48 times before I figured out a configuration I wanted. But you know, with the help of Jack Pine staff and the mods that Morgan from Northwater made me, I feel like I've got a pretty good system. So nice. It's gonna be good. I also talked to another guy that has paddled the Hood already, and just made me like twice as stoked about doing it. So pretty pumped.
I got a lot of running around to do. I have to head over to Overlander Sports and pick up my Novacraft 15-foot Prospector, buy some bear spray, pick up some fuel, and just do a little bit of running around. We're gonna go to the Floatplane base, get everything dialed in, and hopefully first thing tomorrow morning at 5 a.m., we're gonna be on a floatplane flying into the Arctic Barren lands on a very, very long floatplane shuttle over some of the most remote areas in the world. Okay, so here we are at Amek Air in Yellowknife, and now it's the final bit of crunch time. We have to come in so light. We can only bring 360 pounds of gear on this trip, and there's no trees, so there's no fires, there's no opportunity to cook over fire. You have to bring more fuel. We do have a stick stove, but on the Barren, sometimes there's sticks and sometimes there isn't. Good idea to have some fuel with you, that's for sure. It's a mandatory thing for the most part. We're gonna take all of this over to the scales here at the Floatplane base and meticulously weigh everything. And at that point, when we come up with our final weight, which is hopefully dead on 460 pounds or less, because we're packing 100 pounds of camera equipment out here, he's going to tell us, listen, you got to throw some stuff. And at that point, we're really going to have to make some hard decisions. We've already dumped a lot of our food, left it back at home. We're going to be having to get about 3,000 calories a day off the land through fishing mostly and foraging and whatnot. But now is truly crunch time with the weigh-in. So fingers crossed. All right. What's our total weight? 440 kilograms.
Absolutely everything.
We all got on the scale. We loaded everything up. We're just waiting to hear back from the dispatch, the owner, to tell us if we made it, if we made our weight. But I think we did because we paid them a lot of money to drop fuel caches off at the end of the day. So I think that everything has worked out, and all our anxiety about the amount of gear we have and being overweight, having to dump food and stuff, has been avoided, which is amazing. We're still going really low on calories on this trip. We're gonna have to be living off the land to a large extent, but we think the fishing's gonna be good out there. And yeah, we're super excited. So man, what a whirlwind. Tomorrow morning, we're gonna make it here at the, I would say crack of dawn, but it never really gets dark here. So tomorrow morning, first thing in the morning, we'll be here probably 6 a.m. and we will fly out. So we're super excited, and we're super happy that we made our way in. Yes, Ted. High five. Well, our plane just showed up and we got everything dialed in last night, and we are just about to fly out of Yellowknife, Northwest Territories here into the Arctic Barren lands. It's about a 4-hour flight. We have to stop at some fuel that was cached on the way, refuel, and we're just about to jump on this plane for what should be a beautiful but long flight. So feel a little nervous, but we feel really confident that we got everything dialed in yesterday. We are taxiing out right now. In a few minutes, we should be in the air. Well, we have landed and we are looking for our fuel cache. Jeff, our pilot, spotted it from the air. So we're just basically taxiing along this lake that is shallow in section. So we're taking it slow just to be safe. And we're gonna have to hop out, probably wade through some icy water there to grab the jerry cans and you know, pull up on the beach a bit and put them in. And then we take off and finish the next leg of our journey. We still have about another hour and a half after this, and we've been, you know, 2.5 hours up to this point. So it's a very long flight. So we are at a remote lake on the Barrens, and it's called White Wolf Lake. There's actually an old cabin here from a hunter that burnt down. So there's some boats here, so they cached the fuel here. How many do you want in there, Jeff? Well, we did it. We're gassed up. Last leg of the journey coming up. We're gonna taxi back to the lake, take off into the wind. Find a proper place to pull up here. Maybe not possible on this lake, so we're essentially loading the canoe from the Floatplane pontoon, and Ted's gonna jump in and paddle it to shore, and we're gonna have to do a couple trips, but we're starting to drift away, so never a dull moment. This can go. All right, this one's pretty heavy. That's stuck on something. Yeah, it's like 60 pounds, I think. That one is heavy too. Everything fucking heavy, basically. Here's the seat to the folding canoe, but careful because the brackets can fall out of it. So what are your thoughts on the weather? How do you think it's gonna? Is this gonna hold up for a bit?
Yeah, we have this high here, stationary high here, so
yeah,
it should be good.
Okay.
Good for a while, anyway.
I trust a bush pilot any day before the news. For a weatherman, any day, man. We will.
Yeah, appreciate it,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Thanks
Take
a lot.
care.
Yeah, very good.
Good meeting you.
Yeah, I'll have to look at your YouTube thing.
Yeah, check it out. Paddling bow is fun.
I have space in my canoe too, because it's a 16.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I say we just camp here, bud. What do you say?
Maybe, but this island is to put my canoe together.
Yeah. Well, we have just been deposited on this lonely island at the extreme headwater of the Hood River. Well, we're gonna camp on this cool island, pretty awesome, and ton of stuff to do to get dialed in. We hauled all our stuff up here to camp where there's a nice flat area, good spot to get this folding canoe put together and to pitch a tent.
These little plastic clips line up to the holes. Okay, let it come forward. Okay.
God, it's so light. Just to give you an idea, it's probably 10 o'clock at night right now, or later. Sun's still pretty high in the sky, and we just kind of want to crash because we're exhausted. But what a beautiful spot, like so cool. The wind picked up a bit, it's keeping the bugs down, but they get vicious out here. Anyways, Today, dinner is going to be chicken curry with rice. Look at that. Vacuum sealed, put away. So I made this dehydrated and vacuum sealed it. We had to come in so light for this trip. I did like a crazy mission of dehydrating food back at home. Nailed it. Well, it is the morning of day 2, really our first full day out here, and me and Ted slept hard. We need to sleep hard. Got to work hard, sleep hard out here, and we didn't get out of the tent until like 9. It's kind of like sleeping with a searchlight in your face here in the Arctic. So I just basically draped like a shirt over my eyes. But oh man, it felt good to have a good night's sleep after all the prep and early flights and all that kind of stuff, and you know, not getting much sleep before the trip. Looks like we have a nice day. We're going to be starting off paddling into a headwind, and we have probably about 30 kilometers here of headwater lakes on the Hood River to get through before we get right into the river and into the rapids. So we're probably not going to get to the rapids today. We'll see. We're going to try to bang off 15-20 clicks and hopefully get into some lake trout, because, you know, after eating the dinners that I allotted for myself, I basically packed like side dinners, which I'm eating on top of lake trout or whatever fish we catch. This is my little, since we were flying, we had to go really light, and we were flying out of Yellowknife, so you can buy isobutane canisters in Yellowknife. So because of that, I went lighter, and I got this little Primus, I think it's called a Primus traditional stove, just because of the style of it. Easy to put a pot on top of it, and the burner is really wide, where some of the other ones, like a jet boil, the burner is very small, so this will make it easier to cook fish without like having it raw on the outside and burnt in the middle. This is pemmican that I made. This is really mushy. I don't know why. Some I made with beef tallow that I rendered, and maybe the heat is making it soft. The other stuff I have is like in solid bars. Pemmican is made equal parts dried pulverized meat, such as like game meat, traditionally bison. I've made it with bison, moose, deer venison, and dried pulverized berries, and rendered animal fat, in this case beef fat or lard, which is pig fat. Got a ton of calories, and it's a whole food, good amount of protein, and the berries provide some vitamins as well and add flavor. Well, here's the scene you've all been waiting for. Jim Baird eats porridge in the Arctic wilderness. You've seen me eat porridge in all kinds of settings, but not once yet in the barren lands of the Arctic. This is going to be a 10-minute scene.
Opening scene was like a never-ending monologue.
Just kidding. Pemmican, oatmeal, and my personal favorite, a breadless bacon sandwich.
Not the worst place to have your coffee fresh.
that way. Cranberries are sour, but when they freeze on the plants over winter, they're delicious. Tastes kind of like Thanksgiving cranberry sauce. This isn't even nearly as bad as they can get here, but I'm gonna put on some of this muskol. This is 30% DEET lotion. And you gotta protect yourself from the bugs while you're out here, man. And this stuff, I find it's just about the best, especially when you don't want to be carrying as much weight. It just, it's easier to ration this than the sprays, I find. How are you feeling about this canoe, Ted?
I feel like it's all right. I'm not too sure about rapids. I'll have to be like particularly cautious. I think maybe float it, weight it, line portage around things that are going to be shallower, where I have more risk of crashing into rocks because I'll just puncture it, right? But any big water and stuff, I feel great about it, really.
Just using a big Williams whitefish here, casting from shore, just lost a tank. This looks like a good eater. There we go, first fish of the trip, baby. That was awesome.
Yeah!
Yeah!
Amazing!
Looks like we don't have to worry about starving out here maybe after all, Ted? Using my cold steel SRKC. Brought a bit of a smaller sized knife on this trip because there's no wood out here to cut. Look at that nice orange meat. The orange means that they've been eating mostly small crustaceans, like kind of basically like tiny little shrimp. I filleted it and then cut off remaining meat chunks and cut out the cheeks. If you fillet fish, you lose a lot of meat, but if you really go in and try to, after you fillet it and take like what other chunks you can cut out, you can get a good little bit more out of it, which I did. Anyways, that's it. We ended up taking about an hour longer than we wanted, probably more now. I can't, but we got dinner. Time to push off and get going. We are on the water, baby. Ted was deep into a bungle at camp, so while I was waiting for him, I took a few casts, and wow, did I ever have action. Lost the first two. The second one I had on was gargantuan, was just running out my spool in an enormous way. I haven't fought a fish like that for a while. And then the third one was the baby, but that's the one I landed, so maybe I'm just not good enough to land the big ones. Well, doesn't get much more beautiful and perfect than this. The wind's even died down some. We had a headwind. Only problem is the bugs are keeping up to me. Ted's still like 100 miles back. Well, we are just cruising through extreme headwaters of the Hood River, and we're in the remote territory of Nunavut, Canada. And this is the only province or territory in Canada that has no road access to it whatsoever. And personally, my personal opinion is I'd like to keep it that way. Look at this map flip book that Ted made. Topographic maps for a whole route, bunch of notes. This is Lake Tafakalik, and we're at 414 feet of elevation above sea level. So by the time we make it to the ocean, we'll have gone down 414 feet and about 3 meters. Oh, I saw the net. Yeah, that's a great eater size. Well, I made fast work out of that nice eating size lake trout, and I think this means that Ted and I are good for today for fish, eh Ted?
I think so.
Remember, we need to be eating quite a bit of fish though. Anyways, time to move on. Got another one on here. Not nearly as big as the Leviathan I had on this morning that was running out my spool, but holy f***, dude! What in the f*** is this thing? Holy sh**. What the f***? Seeing this? I don't even know how I'm gonna land this. Wow.
Whoa!
There she is. Woo, bye-bye. Yeah. That was awesome. Oh my God. I gotta put my rod away. We're not gonna get anywhere today. I just hooked into another one.
I'm jealous. I want to catch a fish too.
Just a baby.
Silver, I got.
Well, we're just jumping off on a big open water crossing. About 1.6 clicks. So nothing bad, but we're in the Arctic. Conditions are good though. There's no white caps, slight quartering headwind, and not a cloud in the sky. So the low pressure is keeping up. I see some clouds starting to move in, but yeah, I can't ask for better weather really. Maybe tailwind, but you're paddling on these big Arctic lakes. Sometimes you can get windbound for days and you can't go anywhere if you get weathered in. So I think we're pretty lucky to be starting off with pretty good conditions. Some people say in the Arctic, when it comes to paddling, you cast your schedule to the wind, aka when the winds are down, you paddle. And sometimes, you know, you deal with just heavy winds and you just really can't go anywhere. Ted hooked into a giant fish. He's thinking solid 20-pound lake trout. When he went to net it, one of the prongs of the hook got tangled in the net. And then when he was trying to basically pull the net free, he just pulled the hook out of the fish's mouth and it got away at the last second. So he's pretty devastated. You know, we don't have a ton of time on the lakes, and I think that the bigger trout, we might get into more numbers on the river, but I think the bigger ones are gonna be in this lake. I lost a giant one too earlier this morning. So anyways, the important thing is that we have enough fish to eat and all that. So
The fish kept pulling this way and my rod was on this way, so I tried to direct it in, but I basically just knocked the hook, like I got the hook snagged in the net as the head was coming in. And once the hook got snagged in the net, it was kind of game over.
Getting late in the day though, we were hoping we'd be further along today, but Ted got into some category 5 bungling with, you know, 100 things. Anyways, yeah, I'm having a blast out here. My heart goes out to Ted. I chirped him for losing the fish because I've been in the same situation before, but you got to leave a little more line out and pull that fish and net it. I ended up leaving my net at home because we thought, well, we just have one, and you know, we made a game time decision because we the Floatplane weight issues, and then it turned out I probably could have brought it, so I ended up going to Canadian Tire and buying a net, but I couldn't get a huge folding one like mine, so mine barely fit in that 12-pounder. So we might be outgunned here with some of these tanks. But you know, we could land them from shore, or two of us could land them. But anyways, we're not really out here trying to, obviously if we land a giant lake trout, we're going to be happy as a pig in shit. But the name of the game here isn't necessarily just letting the biggest fish. And even those big ones we would let go. Unless we really needed the food, we would let those ones go, keep a smaller one that's tastier, and leave those big jeans back in the water. I definitely believe in letting the big ones go. So yeah, I'm basically just having the time of my life out here. Of course, there's going to be some type 2 fun with the 11K portage coming, and fear of the raging whitewater rapids on their way. This river has some very serious rapids. And you know, I'm sure, knock on wood, that we're going to hit some scary weather. At maybe, you know, you never know, but you can get some serious ripping winds and storms in the Arctic here in the summer as well. So but right now we're gonna take the good while we can get it, and it's an awesome way to start the trip. Oh no, amigo, this is really snagged in a weird... Huh?
Should we swim for it?
Maybe, because this is snagged in a really weird spot, man. Knew we shouldn't have trolled on this side of the rock. I was going pretty fast though. Look at me, this is a disaster, dude. Oh! So I just lost a lure. So I'm 2 lures down, and pretty much on day 1. And Ted lost one. So we had to really cut back on the lures that we brought with us. Typically we don't lose too many. But we really had to cut back on the lures we brought with us to meet the Floatplane payload. And now we're getting real worried. Because if we keep this up, we're gonna have no lures in 2 seconds. I think I only have 2 or 3 big spoons left.
Yeah, I have
Maybe
3.
Ted has 3 big spoons left, which are what we've been fishing with. And then after that, we have some small spoons and some like large size spinners. But yeah, we don't have nearly enough lures.
19 days, like we've only paddled 4 kilometers.
And we've lost 3 lures. So we're starting to get really worried because we're planning on fish for food. So it's almost like maybe we can't really fish other than just what we need to catch food out here because of our lure situation. That's something to take note of, you know?
Small lures, like I've got nets and all those things. So like,
yeah, I got a bunch of pixie spoons. Yeah, but yeah, it's just, it's unfortunate because
some Cleos that aren't bad, but
at first my tackle box was like 10 pounds, you know, and I dumped like over half of it, then I dumped more of it.
Yeah, man, I had a lot of shit to begin with too.
Yeah, so we're just getting kind of worried that like we don't have enough lures, and if we absolutely mandatory on this trip that we're
expensive, so even when we went and picked some more up, we knew we could have bought like another 6 pounds after the weigh-in, but that would have been like another $600 of lures,
right?
You know?
Yeah, so basically like it just sucks that we're out here and we can't like try to land a giant one, but I think we're gonna have to be a little bit more cautious of our lures because it's absolutely mandatory that we're eating fish every day out here, or else we're gonna get really hungry and weak. So yeah, there's that. Gone into something here. It's a good size for sure. Pulling my drag out. Fish seem to be biting. Me and Ted have made it basically nowhere today because the fishing's been so exciting. Using a massive lure. This could be 20 pounder. Oh man, my hand's getting sore. Yeah, this is probably 30-pound fish I got on right now. Ted! Oh, there we go. Something's happening there. That's a 20-pound fish probably there. Oh, it's not hooked that well. Oh, yeah! Yeah! Holy shit. Oh my god! Oh my god. Whoa. Easy there, big fella. I got a whale! Yeah! Woo! Wow, look at that. What a fish. Holy crap, we're gonna let this big boy go. Oh, Oh man, that's solid 15 pounds, I'd say. Yeah, 18 maybe. See ya, buddy. Yeah! I caught that one on a giant lure. But Ted's was even bigger than that. Ted's was even bigger than that he lost. So I don't know, I said maybe 15, but I'm holding it up. Maybe 17, 18 pounds I'd give that one. 15. Yeah, for sure 15, but I don't know, it fought like it was more than that, that's for sure. Wow. Do you want a silver lure from me?
By the way, we've only made it 5 kilometers.
Perfect.
It's 6.
Are you sure? It's 6? Let's make camp. So did you want a different lure?
Sure.
I tied on the fluoro again, and as soon as I tied the fluoro on, I smashed a monster, you know? So I think there's something to be said for it. Like, I don't think it was as big as the one you had on, but like, it was heavy. Like, I'm holding it like this. Like, it was like, you know, the first one I caught today? It felt like it was double the weight. The other big one I caught today felt like it was double the weight of that. Okay, so this is what I have. I have this. This is my last one though.
Yeah, it's gonna be that. You have a silver one?
I have this, not straight silver, but I have these 3 big ones.
It's up to you.
You can use this if you want.
Silver. It's barely hooked.
Yeah! Yeah! Oh my god! Yeah, nice, bud. See you later, buddy. Well,
the second I switched from brass to silver, I got 2 bites, lost a couple. We did a big crossing, and towards the end of the crossing, I hooked up with like a 25 pounder. I said 20 to begin with, now it's become 25 for sure. And it was way bigger than that. And then I kind of whined, and Jim felt bad because I haven't landed 1 fish, and he's landed like 28.
I think I've landed
so
6.
He's and lost a lot. So he gave me one of his lures as a kind brother, and I caught a nice one almost right away. What a fight.
What kind of lure was that?
It's a Williams whitefish.
We see a place on top of this hill where we're gonna camp. We've made it basically nowhere today because we spent the entire day fishing and losing our precious lures. And we're gonna pull over because we think it might be windy and less buggy up there. Although it's not very windy, so we may be in for the full Barren Lands mosquito experience today. It's all part of it out here. Cold shoulder, closing time. You were begging me to stay till the sun rose. Cheers. Well, we've tried to get as bug-free as a location as possible. I mean, I'm out here in a t-shirt, so I guess we didn't totally blow it, but I don't think we could have done much better. Wow, what a day. I think we only made it like 10K. We're supposed to be averaging like 25. There's over 100 kilometers of lakes to paddle on this trip. Somehow I didn't really realize, admittedly, portages in between them too. Epic fishing, Ted lost a giant, but you know, he got it right up to the boat and he was trying to actually land it, so that counts for something. A lot of the time, if you're fishing from a canoe, you land a giant like that, you're using barbless hooks, you don't even try to get the fish in. You look at it and you let it go. You take the hook out and you let it swim, and that way you're not even handling the fish at all. So as far as catch and release fishing goes, it's as good as it gets for making sure the fish gets away and lives. Anyways, yeah, weather's been on our side, and it just feels really good to be out here with Ted and slamming these fish. I got the one, honestly, on GoPro. GoPro makes the fish kind of look smaller because it's sort of a wide angle. It sort of distorts it, but that was a heavy fish that I caught today and landed, barely fit in my net. You know, between 15 and 17 pounds for sure. And that was really exciting, and caught another big one earlier. I think today I caught 7 or 8 fish, so just crushing it out here. But the big concern is that our lures, we lost so many lures today. 1, 2, 3, I think we lost 4 lures between the two of us, 4 to 5 lures, which is, if that keeps up, we'll be out of good lures to the end of the day tomorrow. Those are the large lures that we need for catching lake trout, and we're not really going to get into any Arctic char till we're quite a ways down river. So we do have some smaller spoons, but overall, man, we really are kicking ourselves. Usually we have way too many lures, but with the size of the fish here and the battles they put you through, man, you get broken off, you're trolling, there's rocks. It's honestly the biggest thing that's like concerning me and weighing heavily on me is the fact that we don't have enough lures, and we could, you know, we're just gonna have to be careful and not fish as much as we wanted to. And honestly, it's just the reality of what we had to do to meet weight restrictions. I mean, we probably could have thrown in a couple more lures at the end of the day thinking back on it, but I think we did a pretty darn good job at getting everything dialed as best we could. So hopefully it was just bad luck today with losing the lures. Really, honestly, if we're gonna have to start swimming for them. Typically when you get snagged, it's in deep rocks, but sometimes, like Ted lost a lure from just a fish, wham, hitting it so hard, and his line got caught in the zipper of a spray deck or something, and I don't know, just snapped it all right off. Like, you're not swimming for that unless you can swim faster than a lake trout, you know, and then you have some sort of grips on your hand so you can grab it after swimming faster and being like, give me that back, you son of a bitch. I used to do that kind of thing back when I was a little more spry, but anywho, just enjoying some single malt. I duct taped the label to my Nalgene bottle, because what's a lifestyle brand without the label? Cold shoulder, closing time, you were begging me to stay till the sun rose. Strange words that come on out of a grown man's mouth when its mind's broke. Pictures and passing time, you only smile like that when you're drinking. Wish I didn't, but I do. Remember all those moments of those nights with you. Do I remind you of your daddy in his 88 Ford? Labrador hanging out the passenger door. Today, my side is, I'm doing a little bit of the side because we have a lot of fish, but this is vegetable shrimp curry. You start with your curry base, so you got chopped up onions, you got some diced tomatoes, and I got red peppers in here. Then you got your shrimp in there, of course. 2 cups coconut milk and 1 zucchini, and this is for 4 servings. good fish fry capped off the day, and beautiful, beautiful still waters out here. Gorgeous sun glowing in the sky, about as low as it's probably gonna get right now. And now we have what is my dehydrated meal. Wow, I thought I put too much water in it. Clearly that's not the case. Okay. Well, it is the end of day 2. And day 2 was, you know, borderline kind of get caught up on sleep day this morning and get dialed in on things. But then we got in the water and it became and slowly fish along the shore and not make any distance day as well. So I think we banged off like 10K, not even. We have 100 kilometers of lakes to paddle with like rapids and stuff in between. So we're gonna have to step it up tomorrow. But it was an amazing day. But as the song goes, why do all good things come to an end? Flames to dust, lovers to friends, the pop stars touching in the new bar, blah 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 blah. And I'm gonna turn in because I'm tired, and tomorrow we're gonna be portaging around raging rapids, slamming huge lake trout, and paddling endlessly. Hopefully we don't run out of lures.